Hello, everyone, and welcome to Saturday's game, Game 1 of Valpo Esports versus Lourdes University. I'm your host, Dikembe. I'm here with my co-host, and we're looking for a pretty good game today. Starting lineup-wise, we have Dreadful, Zaxter, MF Chikimbo, Ordinal, and Steamroller 14 for Valpo Esports. And for Lourdes, we have LU Sergeant Cam, Snorlaxon, Rogue, Lions, and Venkin. Um, Speaking into this game, what do you think the picks are going into this? What do you think is strong in the meta right now?
Valpo's on blue side, so
Yep,
I think the goal here is to try and Talia because he's always just performs super well on Talia.
move the mic closer.
Got it.
There you go.
But yeah, the Talia is always going to be a good pick for us, but we'll see from there. Like Senatom Kench, that's worked out really well for us, so maybe we'll look to draft that.
Yep. But no, going into this, honestly, obviously early game, long day for Valpo Esports. Got two series going on stream, but honestly, it should be a great time.
Yeah, I hope so. Draft should be starting up soon.
We're gonna go to a break really quick. We have a couple of technical difficulties going on, but we'll get this sorted out and we'll be right. The draft.
Yep.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Sorry about that. Looks like we'll be kicking off right into draft here. Obviously, from Valpo Esports, like we were talking about, that Senna Tom Kench is huge. We're looking for that Talia early pick, but I mean, you've taken a peek at their OPs before.
Yeah,
What do you think is going to be their priority pick going into this, especially on red side?
their priority pick?
Hmm.
That's a good question. Probably a support, I would guess, or a jungler. Like they may look to grab one of Snorlaxon's better jungle picks. I think we're planning on banning at least one, but maybe they pick something up after that. They have most played as Kane, but Kane is more of a solo queue champion, so I doubt we'll see a Kane pick, especially after it got nerfed last patch. But I'm not sure. It could be a lot of things.
And we've seen as well, Snorlaxon likes to also pick up that Zac too.
Yes.
But you see that Zaxter is also kind of a Zac player. So I guess, like, I'm asking here, do you think we're gonna go for the Zac ban, or do you think we're gonna try to pick him up first?
I think we will most likely ban Zach. I think we're on blue side. We're going to try and get Talia
Hmm.
if we can. But I think most likely what'll happen is we'll plan on first picking Talia, save the Zach ban for last. But if Talia doesn't make it through the ban phase and Zach does, we might just try and first pick Zach.
Sounds good. No, as we're waiting for draft here, I would say bot side, right? We talked about the Senatom Kench, but do you think that there'll be a ban thrown that way? Because Valpo Esports has been playing Senatom Kench for these last couple series and has been winning, so it's becoming
Yeah,
quite a threat.
it's really weird. Like we haven't seen it banned all season yet, and we just kind of roll games with it every time. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see it break up the pattern, but
Mhm.
who knows?
And I have to wonder because we do have Ordinal on Valpo Esports as our ADC today. If that Senatom Kench does get knocked out, do you think we'll see a misfortune here?
Yeah, the team has been playing a few different ADCs. I can't speak to the details of all of our scrims that we play, but yeah, we've got a few different things ready.
Yep. So no, especially considering this patch right now, Misfortune is very, very strong coming into it. Her autos do like thousands of damage, right? Especially that late game, the speed boost that she gets from her W, the chip early game from her E. She's overall a really, really tough champ to play against right now. And it
Okay,
looks
let's
like,
see.
yep, we're going into this draft here. We're about halfway through already. From Valpo side, they selected for the support vans, right? With the Yumi and Soraka trying to target that support there.
You mean Soraka Zach? That seems right.
Yep. So obviously, like we were talking about, right? Lords is looking for that jungle pick. They're looking for that support pick. So Valpo Esports recognizes that too and decided to come out straight with it. But you see that Lords also banned the Hecarim, Misfortune, and Ash. So kind of going for that ADC there with that Misfortune pick. But the Ash ban is a little bit out of
Yeah.
left field, I'd say.
So we ended up getting the Talia, which I like. I really like having the Talia on our team.
Hmm.
That looks like a Senna Nasus bot lane to me, and that is a really nice pick into the Callista because if you can put Wither on Callista, her dashes don't go anywhere, so
Yep.
she's a pretty easy target. You can hit her with the Senna route, and Nasus can just bonk her. Um, Jarvan jungle, that's one of Zaxter's specialties, like big Jarvan guy, and then Dreadful probably on the Silas. I think that's
Hmm.
going to go pretty well
Yep.
into Ornn. He talks about it as an Ornn counter a lot.
Yep. And you saw that our last series, he also played Silas into Ornn. Big thing about Silas, right? Many players talk about it. Silas is almost like a better Ornn. Stealing that Ornn ult, especially for team fights, is a huge amount of engage, along with the lifesteal that he has. Silas's kit is just overall better at this point in the stage, especially because of the recent Ornn nerfs that have happened. But you see that Valpo Esports, with the Senna and Nasus, have decided instead of going for that ban against Callista. Callista has a really high ban rate right now in
Yeah,
Hatch. Instead of going for that Callista ban, they decided, hey, we're just going to counterpick it. And like you said, that Nasus Wither, you'll have to see though, right? That W max, but will this Nasus go Comet? Will this Nasus go
yeah,
AP build
we'll
to try
see.
and get that chip in the bot lane? So bringing this up, yeah, taking a look at this also, we have the V jungle coming from Lords as well. The engage that she has is somewhat insane, especially good against like Talia and different characters in the mid lane. Kind of very like roaming heavy champ. The Ari with the movement that they have, and the Nautilus kind of to lock down. But really, seeing the Nautilus and the Nasus bot lane, it's going to be a tank into tank. Uh,
I really like the Valpo draft here. I think Valpo has definitely come on top of this draft because you see Lords, they have Ari is their only source of real AP damage, and Ari kind of falls off late. Even with the Ornn item, she's not going to be doing too much damage. Valpo has two infinitely scaling champions with Nasus's Q stacks doing more damage permanently throughout the game. Senna's range just gets more and more. They have Jarvan for some early pressure, and Talia can also fight early. Like she'll fight you early and win, but she'll also just one shot you later.
yep,
Yeah, I really like the Valpo draft here.
yep. So no, it looks like for Valpo Esports especially, we're looking for, other than that bot side, a pretty engage heavy comp.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Silas is going to be looking to pop that Ornn earlier. I talked about this earlier when we took that Silas into Ornn our last series. That Ornn really doesn't come alive until 6. That combo that he has really doesn't come alive till 6. He can combo about like 4 or 5, but in comparison to Silas's level 3 spike, level 4 spike,
Yeah,
it's hard to fight that. So really, Silas is going to be looking to pressure a little bit early lane, trying to get those W's in, trying to get that sustain and knock Orin off the wave a little bit. We have the bot lane infinitely scaling. So really, the question I want to have here is, Vector, as a jungler yourself, seeing this draft that Valpo Esports has, who do you try to path to?
I would probably be pathing. I would probably start top and path bot. Uh, with infinite scalers, they're usually pretty weak early,
Hmm.
and Callista can really bully you in an early game if she does well.
Hmm.
So I would be kind of around bot side. I would start top, look for an early gank mid, maybe if the wave is shoving in. If not, I might invade. But I would be definitely pathing bot side to make sure that they don't get pressured too hard in the early game so that they can stay relevant late game.
Yep. So obviously, too, I want to ask also. Um, Looking into this, we have somewhat of an engage heavy comp, right? Do you think there's going to be any summoner spell changes? Because you see a lot of the times that in top lane and mid lane as well, if you're going into a confident fight, running that Ignite early can shut down lanes, but obviously we know that MF Jakimbo and Dreadful tend to opt towards a teleport.
Yeah,
S-
I think we'll definitely see teleport top, but mid is more interesting
Mhm.
because Talia can obviously cross the map really fast with the ultimate.
Yep.
So maybe TP isn't necessary, but I know that MF Jacimbo really likes to take the TP. Maybe Ignite or Barrier.
Yep. Because we've seen MF Kimbo with his rumble picks, with his engage heavy
Oh
picks,
yeah.
taking that ignite, like willing to go and bully lane early. But with Talia, it's the question of, do you think that her late game scaling is going to be more important in a team fight, or do you think that you can bully people out early enough that that late game won't even matter? Because if she can get those picks early, if she can use that ignite for kills early game, that late game she won't need that teleport because they're going to be rolling
Mhm.
by then. But if she thinks that that Talia late game is more important for those team fights, you'll see the teleport come out. So honestly, it's going to be just a summoner spell like toss up, because I
Yep.
can really see it going both ways. Obviously, not much like change up coming from our bot lane summoner spell wise. Rune wise, I don't really see many characters with kind of a flexibility. I guess the only one I see is that Nasus support going Comet. If he goes Comet, obviously we're going to see the AP build come out, but we're not sure if Nasus is going to go for those Q stacks or if he's going to go for just those the early E mechs.
If Nasus isn't maxing Q, it would be W, I think, that
Yeah,
gets maxed.
as a Nasus support, you usually want to see W max first, especially against the Callista, like you said. But that second max that you choose is somewhat important, because if he goes Comet, I can see a Q max coming last,
Yeah.
right? So we'll have to see.
I think you take one level in Q probably
Hmm.
because with Senna, you're doing the farming, right?
Yep.
Senna doesn't take any farm, but you want to just like take the minions, get the stacks. You can bonk people late game. That's really what you want to do.
Yep. And I'm interested to see. We haven't seen it so far this year in any of Valpo's games, but I'm interested to see the Nasus support coming into a team fight. Obviously you have the Wither, the point and click, but taking that kind of role, using his ult and using that tank ability that he has, uh, taking that into fights, and looks like we have a Sejuani lock, so they may have changed.
Yeah, that may have been an accidental Jarvan pick, and we might be on the Sejuani instead,
Yep, we may.
which I actually prefer a little more tankiness.
Mhm. Especially if we're.
Oh,
Oh, we have a remake.
it looks like that was an accident. So we will be back on that Jarvan.
Oh, yep. Looks like it was an accident.
Yep.
Well, I mean, okay. In that case, would you want to talk about why you would prefer to take Sejuani into this comp?
Well, right now there's nobody building full tank unless Zaxter goes for the full tank Jarvan build that I've seen a few times recently.
Yep.
There's nobody who's super tanky on their team, and they might have some trouble dealing with Ornn. Ornn is super tanky. Nautilus can be pretty tanky late game. So
Because especially taking that Silas top lane, that is the one thing you lose, is that while you have engage, that front line is
yeah,
lacking. Because Silas, as much as he has sustain, he's not going to tank many things. He
yeah.
can still get CC'd out. He can still get kind of
You can
kited a
still get
little bit.
bursted out.
Exactly. So losing that front line, especially for a super scaling comp like bot lane is for Valpo Esports this time, you need someone to be able to sit behind, really, to farm out, especially with that center range that she's going to get. She still needs to use that range, and because of that, you can't have people jumping on you. That's what the front line's there for. But that's what I also want to like worry a little bit, is that if we see that kind of AP Nasus come out, are we going to kind of swap the frontliners here? Because if we don't have a tank top lane, and if we see the Jarvan jungle as well, if Jarvan doesn't go tank, really we're looking at Nasus to tank it.
Yeah, and that
And
can be kind of rough because Nisus is usually going for more bruiser items or even AP sometimes.
exactly. So we're gonna have to see. I do think, like you said, that the Jarvan 4 tank will come out, especially based on the team comp here coming from Valpo. But if not, we're looking for a little bit of an interesting team fight, like how Valpo Esports is going to kind of angle themselves to go into this engage. Because you'll see, with teams that don't really have a strong front line, with like attacks in the jungle and different things like that, they're going to try to position themselves so that they're not taking head-on fights. They're not taking 5 by 5. They're trying to work back to front. They're gonna try and jump over walls. They're trying to get around on people. So honestly, based on what we build here in our jungle, it's gonna
What
be
must
the
be
deciding
done?
factor.
Yep.
Not a problem.
We're sorry about the delay here, folks. Just a little bit of technical issues with our drafts and bans coming in. Obviously, like we all misclick, we all make mistakes, but also League client sometimes doesn't like when you try to click other champions and it'll just like back you out. So there's always something being thrown in the air when you're trying to do these kind of games. But no.
All right, and it looks like things are going as planned this time, so we'll have the game starting up pretty quickly.
Yep. No. Also, I want to talk about we had that Aatrox ban for Silas or for Dreadful on our team. Do you think that going into an Ornn and Aatrox is viable? Because it is a really high win rate right now. But I'm not sure if they were like planning to take that Ornn already before the game, banning that Aatrox, or if it was a reactionary ban. Because it
Well,
was
I
second
know
half.
Dreadful's Aatrox is one of Dreadful's most played characters anyway, so
Yep.
it's possible they just didn't want to go into that.
Yep. No. Especially regarding his win rate recently in like a couple of patches. Uh, Aatrox is kind of a 1v9 character.
Yeah.
He can step into 1v3s, even like only one kill ahead, and he can at least get out alive. With it, like that's disregarding a kill or two kills that he can maybe steal from it too. But I mean, where do you think the Ashe ban was targeted at? Does Ordinal play Ashe a lot?
I have no clue.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure if that was maybe just like they may have talked about it in League Client. It may have been just like a placebo for another ban, but either way, I mean we have our picks now, so we're going into this game somewhat strong. I'll be interested to see kind of the dynamic between the early game and the late game coming from both of these comps, because kind of that like hitting that six power. Um, I mean outside of maybe Silas, right? Silas and Jarvan being the two sixes. I mean Talia, Senna, and Nasus all have somewhat team fight oriented
Yeah. But
ults.
Silas has some really good team fight ults just to pick from here.
Oh, of course.
Like Nautilus ult, Ari ult, Ornn ult, those are all really good picks.
Yep.
How does Callista ult work with Silas?
Um, I damn, I actually don't know.
Gonna look that up really quick.
Go ahead and check that for us. Check for our viewers here, because yeah, if Silas does steal Callista ult, are you able to like take people back in? Like, are you able to jump into someone? Can you take people back into yourself? That's kind of interesting, but I mean the like the six spike that
Silas apparently gets to buy Black Spear at the beginning of the game.
really? Do you think we will? Do
I
you
mean,
think it's worth
there's no
it?
reason not to.
Yeah. All right, we might see a little bit of an interesting take here, but no, like I was saying with Lords, their team comp, especially hitting six, is kind of a power spike. You see, Ari gets that huge movement, V gets that suppress, right, and that unstoppable movement, trying to like pick people out. And the Callista and Nautilus have like more engage and more safety. Um, Ornn, obviously, we talked about earlier, doesn't really want to fight Silas until six, but compared to the Valpo Esports comp right now, I feel like the engage in early game after Ultimate is a lot stronger for Lords. That's what I
Yeah.
was talking about. I want to see the kind of dynamic that they have of are they going to try and pressure that early game, or are they just going to take their chances late game with Valpo's comp?
I don't think you want to fight Valpo's comp late game. I think that's a really, really poor decision to make. I think they want to try and bully bot lane early, especially with that Callista. Like, if Vi repeatedly ganks bot, they'll definitely need some help from Zaxter. Uh, I think Callista's really weak mid game, in my opinion. Like, one item you're doing good. Once you get to 2 items, it's like I don't know how strong she is, but late game when you have like 3 or 4 items, you're kind of going crazy.
Mhm.
Ari, I think, is really strong till about 2 items, and then you kind of start to fall off a little bit. Like your damage just isn't that high.
Mhm.
But you do have some good CC and mobility, which always helps.
Mhm.
But Ornn items also really help.
Yep.
Like keep your teammates who don't scale very well in the game.
Mhm. And I do feel like also kind of choosing that Ari, that Callista, right? These kind of fights early, right? That Callista Nautilus is very very strong early game, right? With those engages, and I think the point of kind of that draft that they have is they're going to lessen up the pressure on that Ornn and Ari by giving V more opening spaces to go gank their lanes without being worried about bot lane.
Yeah,
I feel like V is a strong jungler early game, strong entering lane, and having that Callista and Nautilus, that self-preservation in that bot lane to be able to fight and get out of things, really opens up V to go past top and mid, apply a little bit more pressure and help out their early games. While Ari running that electrocute does have a lot of chip on that early game, I'm thinking more of that Ornn. So especially like you said, also that Jarvan 4 looking to path that top lane because of that scaling comp, we might have a couple of early 2v2s coming in here
yeah,
if we
I
get
think
with the
so.
lucky timing. So looks like we'll be entering into the game right now. So we'll get a look at their runes, get a look at their summoner spells, and we'll see if anything's out of the ordinary, really.
I
But
don't think Talia wants a 2v2 before level 3.
mhm. I don't think that the thing is with Talia, right? All of her abilities are very ranged, and she's trying to look
Oh
in that
yeah.
little passive circle that she spawns, right? So I don't think that we'll find many fights where she's like forced into it, but that kind of relies on the enemy jungler, right? And the angle that they're taking to see if she can force Talia into these angles where she's forced the team fight back. But no. We do have the comment on the Nasus, so we are looking for a little bit of an AP Nasus.
All right, so
Uh,
we have TP from Dreadful and Exhaust from Jakimbo, but that is an unsealed spellbook as well. So
yeah. So it looks like he
Silas
maybe.
does have Black Spear.
Mhm.
Didn't bind it, it looks like.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Interesting. And there it goes. Oh, looks like we
30
have to bind
seconds
to
until ring
Zaxter.
Okay,
close.
binding Zaxter. I
Yep.
like that. It's kind of an interesting place to bind, honestly. Like, if they had walked into the jungle at that moment while Black Spear animation is happening, like, what is happening right now?
Have a little bit of a touch, but
That was
looks
a
like it's
little
not going to be
weird.
much. A ward going into entrance. A lot of pings coming from Valpo as well. But
Yeah, they're probably being dreadful. Like, what's going on here? They just walked by each other and nothing
yeah,
happens.
there's just a couple of slaps, but really not much. Looks like we don't have any invades coming in. Just a little bit of like taunting coming from the other side. Um, I mean, like you said, we have an unsealed spellbook coming from F. Jakimbo. Probably looking for that teleport late game.
Yeah,
Just
I think so.
looking to kind of like switch it out, but that exhaust early game especially is important. Like we said, those engages coming from that jungler early game are
What
going
is
to be
going on
huge.
bot lane?
I mean,
If you look at the
and
Nautilus
we,
and Callista, they
it
are
looks like
like,
they're trying to catch someone out early
I think so. This
coming
is going to
in.
be pretty interesting to see. Oh, it looks like
No,
they're just going to lane. They didn't wait.
yep. I think they were just planning on if they didn't leash that jungler there to get an early kill. Because I mean, you see, there's like we're having a couple of technical difficulties here, but you see that. Oh, and this may be just a League client error again. League client spectating errors are really weird. A lot of the times. Sorry about that, folks. But we'll talk about it for a little bit.
Oh, we're
Oh,
back.
and we're back. There we are.
Yep, here we
We
go.
have an
First
early
engage
pull.
from the bot lane.
Just a couple of pulls.
Not the worst trade. They got some damage off on the ADC from Valpo, which is kind of what you want.
Yep. But no, I think honestly the idea behind that Nautilus Callista sitting in that tri-bush early was that Nasus doesn't have really any of his abilities.
This is a little rough for Valpo here. Oh, Zaxter's there. This is good. They're turning the fight.
the exhaust on Zaxter and the root again.
Nice, that's what we like to
going
see.
Nasus. Looks like they're going to run down this Callista as well.
They are down a level,
We'll
though.
see,
They should
get
be
the
careful
exhaust
here.
off the slow as well. But it looks like
They
it
are
won't be
fighting in a
enough.
huge minion wave as well, which is a little risky.
Callista's movement that early game you see just being on par there. Because as Nasus was chasing down, it just wasn't enough for her to actually like pick off anyone. The exhaust coming out as well on her, trying to get that 30% slow. It looks like we have an engage as well. That
It's
level
going
3
great
spike
top
coming
lane
from,
for Dreadful.
that level 3 spike coming from Silas, as we were talking about earlier. Just making, and honestly, like while the health doesn't really show it right now, 1 W and he's winning the fight again. A couple of shots coming in from Kimbo, but looks like an early roam coming from Nautilus.
That is a rough hook. I thought that was dodged.
But the miss on the charm may lead to MF Jakimbo surviving this here. And another engage coming from the Silas, but the flash out of Orin.
Gets flash, huge wave crashing under turret. Orin actually has a tough time with those waves top lane. Your auto attack isn't quite enough to one-shot the casters after they get hit by the turret, so you kind of are in a weird spot where you're like struggling to get all the minions that are under turret. But it looks like
we have a little bit of a engage coming in from the river. The hook on the Ordinal, but the flash coming from Senna. She's trying to get away. The flash from Snorlax, and it looks like kill will go to Callista.
Against 3, there's just not enough PO for the Nasus to keep Senna alive there, unfortunately.
Looks like the support Nautilus is getting active very early in this game, trying to give a little bit of pressure to that mid lane, but MF Jakimbo kind of sitting in lane as we expected. Ari's early game wave clear is a little bit weak because of her Q, but looks like we'll get a little bit of an engage coming from the V, the charge on her Q. But Zaxter's
big 2v2 from Zaxter.
And the charm hitting Zaxter. Looks like V may sit on Jakimbo here. Jakimbo's just too fast, and Zaxter slapping up a little bit.
Nice. This is a huge 2v2.
The pull, and it may be a double kill coming here from Zaxter in this mid lane. And the flash for the double kill.
Zaxter is just kind of a freak on the Jarvan, kind of a force to be reckoned with. These 2v2s early have been really good. He's all over the map. That's really all you can ask for from your jungler early game.
Yep, and that was great positioning coming from him as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wait for that turn. Wait for that V to miss her Q, because you saw that Q, if he jumps in too early, V just turns around and leaves.
Yeah.
But because he hit it, it really opened it up. And it looks like we have another roam coming in.
These hooks are crazy. It looks like all of them have missed.
And from the Callista. But Jarvan's going to get shut down. Taking that Blast Comb is just not enough for the Callista Rend to come in. Looks like they're going to pressure out mid-wave a little bit. Talia just too low on mana to fight this, honestly. But bot lane's going to catch up a little bit on the CS. So we've seen this Nautilus is active, and like you said, these hooks have been nasty. Coming in from each side, especially running that Glaciate as well.
Yeah.
Just making that CC stun insane.
It's really hard to dodge a Nautilus hook because the hitbox is very unclear. I would say it's one of the most notorious unclear hitboxes in the game.
Yeah.
Where, like, you think you dodge it, and then all of a sudden Nautilus is on top of you. Like,
yeah. Especially just like having that Nautilus in your face, especially as like an early game ADC or really any like squishy character. It's
yeah, you don't like that.
Thing. It's a scary thing.
You don't like that. That's not good.
Combined with his W as well, he becomes a tank. Looks like he's looking for a little bit of a position late game here, but Zaxter is in that bot lane hovering, waiting for that engage. Have a little bit of vision, so
they got a ton of vision. They got they have a stealth ward and a control ward in there. Like
they doubled up on it.
Looks like they are shoving waves, so they might try for dragon here.
Looks like V is also pathing that bot lane as well. They might try to turn this dragon. If Ari can clear this
we need to get the camera off of top lane.
It'll switch.
Oh, here we go.
It switches.
Yeah, Valpo's just doing a great job pressuring off dragon.
A hook coming
Nautilus
from Nautilus
hooks in on the Nasus. Nasus has no ultimate yet,
so they're going to be looking to steal this.
Nice.
But blue team still takes it away.
Valpo manages to get the dragon.
Oh, knock up from the Talia.
This is a really close fight
from Nasus.
Alright, MF Jakimbo's coming in clutch here, managing to get one kill, but Valpo comes out with the dragon and one kill, but otherwise kind of a rough fight.
You have to start worrying now. This Callista is 4-0-1, especially going into this early game with Berserkers already. she's gonna start to become a little bit of a problem. I mean, Dragon going to Valpo here, but you have to think early game, giving that Callisto those 3 kills in that fight, is Drag worth that?
Probably not. She already had Berserkers. Berserkers is a really big power spike for Callista because it gives you attack speed and movement speed, and Callista's dash length scales with movement speed. So
Looks like we have a stolen ult from here, but
if you can manage to get really ahead early on Callisto, like that mid game is going to be a lot more forgiving.
yep. We had a stolen ult there. You saw that engage coming from Silas, stealing that Ornn ult is really strong, but a little bit, maybe just trying to clear that wave, just to get it out so that he can recall a little bit. Right now we have a couple of pings coming in from Lourdes, trying to just show out, hey, there's someone we're missing here. Talia's back in the lane now. That lost chapter and that tome coming in with the ability haste that Talia gets, we're gonna start to see her come like active a little bit. You saw as well the Callista going from that Zerkers to a straight Noon Quiver. So now that wave clear as well is going to be enhanced by tenfold, really, with that extra damage to minions. So she's gonna become a bit of a problem now coming into this lane. And we're really
has
seeing
ult as well, which is a little scary.
And we're really seeing now why this Callista had such a high ban rate in this patch, especially. Like, those fights, it's hard to catch her. If you're not focusing her, right, especially like drag with an objective and things like that, it's hard to really focus your sights on that Callista, making her movement just 10 times better. And really, I think... Oh, we have another hook from Nautilus, another pull, an insane pull. And almost a kill going from that Callista with the Rend, but
looks like Vi's coming in. This is a little bit scary.
Crashing that wave here. Another Callista R to save that Nautilus, a VR, but it looks like the V will die here.
Alright, they got 1 kill out of it.
Yep. A 1-for-1 trade coming here. Actually somewhat worth, but the flash from the Callista and another kill going to this Lions. Honestly, it's just hard to fight that. She flashes on you.
She's just playing super well as well.
Exactly.
Like the Nautilus is getting great engages. Callista's following him up super well. Nautilus almost died to the turret damage, but was saved by Callista ult.
That kind of just like communication that they're having that bot lane is really strong here. You saw, like we said, I mean, that early game, this is 10 minutes. Their engage is just really unmatched. But we'll see later in this game as well. When that Wither hits max rank, it's gonna start getting tough for Callista if they can focus. But really, that's gonna be like relying on team comp. It's gonna be reliant on that communication that Valpo Esports has. Just a little bit of downtime here. A couple of recalls. Item-wise, we see the Leandries coming on Talia. Nasus building that tank like we saw, right? The
Frozen
Ionian
Heart.
boots.
That's a Frozen Heart coming out.
The Frozen Heart, Ionian boots.
Yeah, Nasus is always going to build not Frozen Heart. Nasus is always going to build the Ionian boots because you just want to stack faster and faster. You don't want to get any minions not stacked.
Yep. And we'll see now that looks like Jarvan will be going that tank with the Bomby Cinder.
Yes, that could either be Sunfire or...
It looks like we have an engage here in this top lane. The flash coming from Silas, but the ult from V knocking him under that
big
tower.
Ult.
We'll see, we have another. The ult on the Nasus. The hook as well, the root. And it looks like Callista's going to be farming a couple of autos here. But that ult from Nasus, you see that tank coming out.
Yeah,
that Gargoyle Stone Plate is really tough now to get a little bit of damage in. You see that they're trying to just form a little bit around. A little bit of a miss from the empowered ability coming from Average Kimbo. But you see, Valpo's trying to adjust now to this Callista in that bot lane, keeping that Ordinal away. Even if that means that they're going to lose those trades, that damage that they would have sustained later is honestly not as much as it would have been.
Callista is super dangerous right now. That's a really early ADC mythic. It looks like Lourdes has 2 mythic items on the team, while Valpo has just 1. Leandries is pretty big, though. Like, that can do a lot in a team fight, especially in a character with a lot of AoE abilities. Sunderer, I don't think Sunderer is too great against Valpo's team, but that is kind of just what you build on Vi.
Mhm. I mean, I have to wonder too. Now that we have that Jarvan 6 for these fights as well,
Yeah.
that Callista can get locked down pretty early, especially the Jarvan ult combined with the Talia in powers is somewhat of
Is
a
he going to try
nasty
and...
combo.
Okay, I thought he was going to try and steal that.
It looks like they're just going to give drag here. Really hard to contest,
Yeah.
honestly.
One cloud is not that big of a deal. If it was like an infernal or a mountain, those will really like help compound a lead. But cloud, while it's strong, it's not as oppressive as the other ones anymore after the dragon changed a few patches ago.
A little bit of an engage here. And you see just dangerous thing about fighting Silas is you think you're winning until he hits 1 W.
Yep.
And it's immediately a winning trade for that Silas. Really tough like fight overall, but I mean, there's not going to be much.
Ornn has
action
Merc
coming
Treads, though, which really helps with these trades. That's a lot of damage that Ornn can just shrug off now. Merc Treads and whatever the 450 gold cape is, like that's really helpful for Ornn here in these mini trades.
Yep. Looks like we have another engage here, but again, just a little bit of chipping.
I would be a little more careful if I was Dreadful here. Like 3 are missing on map, and he's under tower, and I think he's about to get punished for it.
It looks like that V might look for the charge here. And there's the charge.
Oh.
The Senna ult coming
Big
in to
Senna
give him a
ult.
little
Maybe
bit.
he'll get the Ornn? Nope, not quite. But yeah, that's a big overextension and a good punish from Lourdes.
Lourdes looks like right now the team communication is just on par. Not only just from their bot side, but their V being active, coming to like.
Oh, it looks like Zaxter is about to get caught in the jungle as well.
Yep. That Ahri being missing kind of strong, knowing that that V is topside.
Oh, and then it's a Kalista ult bot lane. They are going to be engaging
There's
here.
the Nasus ult as well.
Throttles is coming in, but there's no Kalista ult to save him this time.
It looks like there's another kill going to Nasus. 3 kills that way. A little bit of a fight.
There's a big fight going on in
Zaxter taking
here.
it though.
Oh, a TP coming in from the Ornn.
Junglers, a
But they
flash
do have... It is a 3v3 here, which is really nice. That's what you want to see.
Yep. The ult coming from Talia looking to secure this kill.
Nice, and they find a shutdown on Vi. That's what we want to see.
And that's a lot of gold going to that Talia right there off that kill.
Dreadful is sitting on a control ward in the enemy jungle.
So you have a little bit of a knockup, but we'll see. Now without that V and that already having to recall, we'll see if this fight goes in Dreadful's favor here. Now that he knows that both of them are off the map, he feels a little bit more secure in taking this fight.
Vi's down for another few seconds. Ahri is presumably backing. Yeah, that's not a bad fight to take.
Yep. And we'll see. It's a little bit rough. We've seen this Nautilus and this Callista be so active, and obviously it's paid off, right? But yeah. you have to think at some point they have to go contest that Nasus Senna bot lane, or else it's free farm. So, and like you said, that scaling those passives that they have, it's just giving them more strength.
It looks like Lourdes is going to secure the first Rift Herald here. Nobody from Valpo is really there. I don't even know if Valpo can see that right now. But with so many missing on the map, it's not too hard to guess what's going on.
Looks like MF Jakimbo will peek out a little bit, trying to see what's going on here. A little bit of an empowered Q. Not really doing much to that Nautilus W, but another step up. We see the stolen ult, the stolen V ult going from Silas. So honestly, with a little bit more vision, he may be looking to engage here. A little bit of an overstep by this Ornn.
Looks like there is some
pull.
There's a lot of action. Looks like it's going on in River coming up here. I think Dreadful is about to get caught out by 4. That's not something you can really survive. You can't really survive that. Like 4 collapsing on you from outside, that's really rough.
It's been a little bit tough going into this top side because you see, just seeing that health on that Ornn, seeing you constantly chip away, it's so addicting to just want to keep fighting back and back and back and keep stepping up. But you see, I mean, Lourdes is just, they're talking about it and they're punishing here. And it looks like we have a pretty even gold difference coming in with only 0.2, 0.3 as the difference.
Valpo's ahead on gold, which is really what you want here. Like there is a kind of a CS canyon almost in mid lane. Like mid lane is 60 CS up. Yep. We're about 50 down in bot lane, which is not too great, but
50 down.
Valpo has a turret. Valpo has a turret. Lourdes has a turret. Kills not too far apart. This is definitely a close game, but Valpo's going to have to watch the Callista and make sure that she can't completely run away with the game.
I think it's moments like this right here where are you can't get caught out before these objectives pop up. Really, I think with this Hextech coming on, Hextech is a really strong dragon.
Yes.
So this is going to be a team fight right here.
Hextech is probably one of the strongest souls in the game, if not the strongest.
Just that ability haste boost itself is so insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And attack speed, like,
Yep.
you really don't want getting Callista anymore attack speed. That's just not what you want.
It looks like Orin may be looking for a charge here. They're kind of playing around it, trying to bait him into it. But V and Ari looking to collapse a little bit.
Yeah, it looks
on
like
the
there's a weird
here.
flank going on, but I think that Valpo can see that. Oop, Nasus gets pulled into
And
the fight
a huge
early.
fight coming in
Callista
here.
ult is coming out.
You see the Jarvan ult,
Oh,
the Orin
there's
ult
two
as
on
well.
Callista.
They're pulling
Oh,
in, and
Callista
the
goes down. That is
going
big.
down. Looks like
Nice.
they have a double
Nasus
kill
with a
coming
double
from
kill.
it. It may be just a
Valpo
5.
cleans up. This is great. That is really all that Valpo wants here.
And we saw right there, like we were talking about earlier, that Jarvan ult on that Callista, shutting her down early, along with the Taliyah AoE that she has, making her just not a threat.
Nasus with her. The Nasus support lane, I don't think lane is where Nasus support shines. I think Nasus support into Callista or Zeri is another common counter pick where you see it. That is when, like, when you're Callista or Zeri and you get withered in a team fight, that is like the most horrible feeling ever. Like your whole character's based on mobility and now you have no mobility.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we saw right there. It's so tough because Valpo still has a gold lead, right? Outside of that
Yeah,
bot
Valpo's
lane,
up about
right?
3,000 gold now, which is
Exactly.
really nice.
So when that Callista goes down, I mean, their damage is a little bit lacking because that Ari's not doing too hot right now. Their V, I mean, like you said, Divine Sunder is the usual build for V, but going into this team comp, it's not exactly the strongest.
It's not really that great. Like, you can proc it on the Jarvan, I guess, but there's no really big tanks that you want to be auto-attacking with that Sunderer.
It looks like we'll have a little bit of a Rift Hail drop here. Just taking half, only one charge.
That's a bunch of souls for Senna to pick up. I think that's 3 souls right there, which is really nice. But Valpo did secure the Hextech Dragon. We got a Hextech and a Mountain Soul, which I think those are the 2 strongest souls in the game. So having one of each, you can't really complain about that.
Yep. You know, we see a little bit of farm going to MF Jacimbo. Honestly, I mean, we're used to seeing this. Valpo Esports, right? You see MF Jacimbo get a lead, give him his farm.
Oh yeah.
Give him his gold.
Oh yeah.
He will take it and run with it. So obviously right now, not only just the massive CS diff, but the kills as well, being 3-0 and 3. They're just gonna try and buff him up as much as he can, because Taliyah can be that hyper carry character they're looking for.
You don't want to mess with Taliyah. Like, we usually see a Taliyah ban in our games. This time we didn't. So kind of a rare treat to see MF Jacimbo's Taliyah on stream.
Yep. But no, honestly, if this game does keep going well for him, I do think we'll see another ban for Taliyah going into the second game.
Oh, big fight going on
looks
top
like we have an
lane.
engage here.
Ari
Another hook
manages to
coming
dodge
from
the
the
knockback,
Nautilus,
which
the
is
root,
really nice.
the charm also coming in on Steamroller with the flash away and the ult.
I think
May
Valpo's
get out
gonna
of
be
this,
looking to just
but Ari
back
gets
out.
caught
Oh,
under
MF Jacimbo
tower,
catches the
and
Ari
then the
out.
ult from the Jarvan. And it looks like this will be another winning fight.
Valpo played that fight amazingly.
You can really see Zaxter's Jarvan is just coming online this game. I mean, like you talked about earlier, he's kind of a menace coming on with this like pick that he has. But you'll see that just isolating these guys in this fight, he's been doing a great job, because not only is he layering his ultimates on different people, but he's also delaying his knockups as well, trying to catch people when that Callista dives out to knock that up. So really, those fights are just going really, really well for her.
The gold lead just gets more and more. Valpo's now ahead by 6k gold, which is kind of a huge lead. That's about 2 items worth.
Yep.
And in team fights, Lourdes is
it looks
really
like we have an engage here.
that.
Looks like an Orin ult with the miss here. And another pull.
Ooh.
And we see that Dreadful took Orin ult as well. He's going to try and pop it,
It's
but the
not gonna be
flash
enough,
coming from
unfortunately.
Orin, killing him. We got an ult on Nasus in mid lane with the Callista and the Nautilus to come help. Looks like Steamroller is just going to try and run out of this one. And he may get out, but the root coming in from Nautilus as well. The ult and the E coming in. Maybe a kill here with the Rend, and there it is. The shutdown. I mean, once you see as many spikes as you saw on that Nasus, it's a little bit hard
There's
to
not that much that
get
can
out.
save you.
Exactly. I mean, pressing that E button is one of Callista's strongest moves. But no, I mean,
Well, it looks like Lourdes is just going for Baron.
it looks like a little bit of a visual
Kind of a
update on
bold
this Baron
play.
as well. Looking like a little bit
Yeah,
of a
Worlds patch. We have
a little bit of a Worlds
Baron.
patch going on. Looking a little nice. But
Valpo
after,
sees the fight going on for this Baron.
I mean, we're gonna have to see. Can they take this 5v4?
It's a
even with the
4v5,
build?
but
and a
coming off
knockup.
that fight mid lane, they're a little low.
Yep, huge knockup and
Jarvan
ult
gets
coming
that
from Jarvan with
huge
the
ult.
engage, and
That
they're
is
gonna get the
great.
Dauntless as well. The flash coming in from Ahri, just trying to get away with the R as well as she's going to dash out. They're forced off Baron, and the ult coming in from Silas, stealing V on the kill with
this is
Ahri.
perfect.
Great move. But
And
it looks
Zaxter's
like
gonna make it out
Zaxter's-
with. It looks like they didn't take Baron, but they did get them off.
Yep.
And get 3 kills in the process
Yep.
while losing nobody. That is.
taking a 4v5 while they're already on Baron as well.
It looks like they are just going for Baron after this.
And the pull coming in,
and
this may be a kill. And there it is.
Vi, that is big.
Huge E over the wall right there. That looked
Finds
nice.
Vi, gets Baron. I think Dreadful is overstaying his welcome a little bit in the top lane. He might get
Looks
found
like-
by the Kalista here.
Callista may take that Hex Tech just trying to get in, but
Oof,
we'll
it looks
see.
like Dreadful is barely going to make it out by the skin of his teeth.
Yep. But no, it looks like as they recall here, you know, Lourdes is not going to take any chances. They're already going and setting up for that drag that's ponding up. We're going to have to see. Looks like MF Jacimbo is going to start it up really quick. Just trying to go while that V is still down.
Yeah.
They're
Well-
going to take that jungler diff right now of kills and just try to run with it here.
2 objectives getting taken while your jungler is coming back from Fountain. That is one of the worst feelings. Like, you really want to fight it, but you can't. If you don't have Smite, it's really, really difficult.
And we'll see. I mean, that soul coming up, it's going to be big, especially 2 Hextech Drakes going to Valpo Esports.
Kalista is about 2.5 items in now. It looks like an LDR is the next item we'll see. And who's LDR good against? I guess Nasus and
Nasus.
Jarvan.
Yep. Especially because we're seeing that Frostfire coming from Jarvan as well, with the Kenpunk as well. It's just going to be, it's really just stopping them. That's the plan. Especially because you see, Valpo's playing really well against their engages. Kind of just like frontlining here, looking like where to place themselves, where to position. I think Callista's kind of realizing that she's not going to be able to get to that back line. She's going to have to fight that front line, which is why she's taking that LDR.
Valpo's got Baron buff up, and I think they're really just trying to siege turrets if they can. They are just kind of letting Ahri take top turret, which is a little bit of a misplay, I think. But as long as they get 1 or 2 turrets during
We
this
got the
turn
pull
buff-
in
and
and
it looks
the
like
R
Jarvan is
on the Ahri
just,
as well.
Oh, ult for ult, not too bad. Keep the turret alive.
Yep.
Lourdes does have objective bounties now, so if any of Valpo's objectives are to fall, then Lourdes will get a little extra gold. But Valpo's gold lead is huge. I believe they're up 8,000 gold now.
I think it's tough too. You have to see Summoner Spell well as well. While Orin has his teleport up, right? Dreadful looking for an ult here.
That was
Stealing
a
the Ahri
huge Everfrost.
with the dash.
Ahri is probably going down here.
And there's
nice.
the kill.
That's a good pick. Do we have a dragon timer on our screen?
Can we pull that up?
Objective timers, yeah.
There we
Perfect.
Yep. And we have Hextech Soul coming up in 3
Hextech
minutes.
Soul
here.
in 3 minutes. So, dying right now, not a big deal. Dying in 2 minutes, that's when it gets a little rough. You definitely want to be able to fight for this Hextech Soul. Lourdes definitely wants to stop Valpo from getting this Soul. Hextech Soul slowing the entire team, especially into Kalista. That is a big issue.
Yep. I know. We're gonna have to see also. No matter the gold lead, Lourdes is gonna have to just force it at this point.
Yep.
You get to a point in the game where there is no winning if you lose the soul, right? You lose that soul, you can take that into Baron, right? They're gonna have to team fight this.
Well,
And
it looks like they're going to attempt to collapse on MF Jacimbo here. But MF Jacimbo sees them on that stealth ward. Good vision. Is going to make it out.
and you see also, MF Jacimbo still has his ult up. So while it's important that you have that for team fights, I feel like if they did try to collapse on him, he has a way to get out.
And a spellbook swap, I think.
Oh yeah, he hasn't swapped yet either. So
I think we have seen swaps. They've just rotated back to the original now.
Makes sense. Honestly, like I feel like his positioning is kind of reflected around this exhaust. He's not going to that top side, trying to take that bot side so that he can rotate easily and keep that exhaust for team fights. Honestly, I think Valpo Esports is looking really good right now. It's kind of like what they wanted as a setup. Looks like Lourdes is going to take one last back before they go to set up for this fight here. A little bit of an upgrade coming from Ornn. Looks like they're getting the upgrade on that Immortal Shield Bow for that Callista, which makes sense. That's who you want to upgrade right now on this team. Not only just like damage-wise, but kill-wise and carry potential.
All right, about 1 minute left for that Hextech Soul. We'll probably see teams try and secure some vision now around the dragon.
The flash and the hook coming from Nautilus and the ult on the Ornn.
That would be a big character to go down.
And the ult on
they're
the
using
Ordinal.
everything on Ordinal.
It looks like Zaxter will R in. They got a pick.
Yeah, but
and here comes
everybody's
Silas
here for
into the
cleanup.
fight. There's another kill from Steamroller.
Callista is CC'd by the Vile, stolen by Silas. This is a big fight for Valpo.
And the dash in again, a huge
knock-up from Zaxter. Zaxter's
Another
just playing
kill.
these fights amazingly.
As Ornn will get out, but a stun
no,
coming in
Ornn's
from
not
Silas
getting
looks
out.
like they
Not if
might.
Dreadful has anything to say about it.
And there's the ace coming in big. Honestly, they may just look
And
to
with
take a
30
couple
seconds
towers
left, they're probably going to get 2 towers and then Hextech Soul, which is going to be a huge... that's really what you don't want to see if you're Lourdes right now. The gold lead has hit over 10,000 gold down for Lourdes.
And I mean,
It looks like they're going to go for an inhib as well.
Yep, I just want to point out, Talia is 7-0-10, and Zaxter is 5-2-15.
Oh, yeah.
These leads for jungle and mid are slowly.
All right, let's go, guys. Get off the wards and get off the control ward. Get off the wolves. Go take the dragon. Oh,
Like
is Dreadful about to get caught out here?
Engaged.
Oh, no.
There goes a huge ult.
They're just fighting again.
It looks like Talia was sitting in that bush,
Oh,
kind of just
man.
planned. And it looks like Snorlaxon will go down for the double kill there. And that is just demoralizing.
What is
almost.
Dreadful doing?
And Dreadful getting a little bit cocky coming into this
He's
lane.
just hanging out in the enemy base.
Stealing that Ahri ult, just kind of like taking a back step here. Knock up from Ornn, but it looks like it won't amount to much. You just see that center range is huge.
Talia and
now.
Jarvan are on the dragon. Gonna look to secure that. Get
The
Soul,
knock up,
which
and
will be
this
really
may
nice.
be a kill going to the center on Nautilus.
There we go.
And
Hextech Soul is online for Valpo.
And it looks like they won't even take time to recall. They may just try to get some wave clear here before getting out.
Baron is up. Elder is up in about 6 minutes.
Yep.
We'll see if the game goes that long. I think it's definitely possible for Valpo to end here off a good team fight.
Yep. It looks like they're just gonna take a little bit of
Dreadful,
a recall,
where are you
I
going?
guess. But not sure. Valpo's staggering their recalls a little bit. Just trying to take a little bit of a red buff. Let's make sure he can get out here. Talia taking that blue as well.
Senna's just mid picking up souls. That's just what Senna wants to do. That range can get so oppressively long late game. That's really how you want to win these late game fights. Poke out Callista in particular so that Jarvan can go in for an easy kill.
Yep. I mean, you saw that early game looking great for Lourdes, but like you said, you really don't want to see this comp going into late game. It's tough for him.
Valpo and Lourdes are both grouping around Baron. It looks like they're just fighting a little bit over vision. But Ornn is upgrading. Oh, who did Ornn upgrade? I think he canceled. I don't think anybody upgraded.
That was a little bit of a weird place to upgrade as well, especially considering
that's
that
what I
Valpo
do.
was sitting in that bush, so.
I upgraded Baron.
I mean that's like Giga Chad. Just like sit right in front of him and upgrade it, I guess.
Well, it looks like Valpo's going to try for Baron. They're just inviting Lourdes to come and stop them on this Baron, because if they can't, then it's game over for Valpo. I mean, Valpo will win.
I mean,
and
just such a quick.
That was a quick take of Baron. Like Lourdes probably didn't even have time to group for that, and Valpo probably won't even bother resetting here. They did it so fast; they didn't take any damage. Like that was a fast Baron.
Exactly.
They have super minions coming in.
It looks like they're just gonna run it down mid. They're gonna try to end this game right now.
It's gonna be really, really hard for Lourdes to stop this.
The flash and the dash from Ornn, but getting knocked back by the Talia. The knockup from Jarvan as well, and that's gonna be a pick. And it looks like the engage on the right side as well, coming from Silas, stealing that Orin ult,
Ult
still
tanks
has
it
it
down.
up,
It's just the front
and
line.
there it goes.
Kalista
Another
going down
knock-up
from an
and
Orin
the
ult
ult from
stolen by
Zaxter.
Dreadful.
And this is going to be game.
This is going to be
This
game for
engage
Valpo
right
here.
He just saw that scaling and that team fighting composition that they had with those knockups and the
Wow, look at
knockups,
that
the
tower
exhaust,
damage.
and the just like knock away from Zaxter.
And that is game for Valpo.
I mean, honestly, a really like seesawing game, I'd say.
Yeah.
From
I
that
thought
early
it looked a
game.
little rough early game, but Valpo managed to stabilize and come back, scale just like their comp kind of wants to.
But honestly, we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we called here, is that early game's going to be really rough for Valpo coming into this, but that late game is going to be nasty with their drafts. So
Oh, yeah. They
um,
just have to hang on till the characters start to scale, and then winning is kind of trivial from there.
so we're going to take a look at the damage graph really quick as it loads up on our screen here. But no, honestly, we're gonna see that MF Jakimbo damage is gonna be huge. We're gonna see that Jarvan damage also be up there, even with the tank. Just that like Frostfire is kind of insane. But a little bit of loading, and here we go. Uh, just like we saw, I mean, the Talia damage is kind of what we expected. Going 8-1 and 16 really comes with the numbers. But honestly, that Silas as well. We saw it got caught out a
Big
little bit early
damage.
game, but really Dreadful's like playstyle does help in that late game because
Yeah.
you need someone to go in and just fight. You
Yep.
need someone to engage for you, and Dreadful is that guy, even if that costs him a little bit early. So really, great fighting. I mean, we saw the Nasus and Senna playing more of like a support role, Onos, for
Yep.
supporting these guys. But also, if we look in the for Lords as well, the Callisto only amounting to 14,000 damage.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just kind of getting jumped on in the fights. There's not that much you can really do. Like, if you die at the start of every fight, you're not going to do a ton of damage.
it looks like we have a couple.
Yeah,
of
hop
people-
in here.
Yeah.
We want
looks like we
Zaxter for
have-
the interview. We want Zaxter for the interview.
We have Zaxter, our Jarvan 4 coming from this game on the interview
Does the
here.
mic work? Here, you can just take this one. You got the interview.
Sounds good. Yep. Get ready for next game. As Vector takes off for our next game, we have our interview coming in from Zaxter here.
Oh,
Here,
hey.
come on.
I'll
Come on,
slide
Cam, a
over
little
here,
bit.
over
Yep.
this way. Oh, I
There
see.
we go. There we go. So obviously we saw the Jarvan 4 pick. Was this more so like draft wise coming in? You just wanted to be comfortable. Did you see something from the comp you wanted to pick?
Yeah, so we noticed that they locked a pretty heavy Callista comp where they just wanted to protect the Callista the entire time. So our whole draft was just knocking up that Callista, trapping her, slowing her, anything we can do to make sure she doesn't live.
I was about to say, like, going into team fights, we saw a lot of not only just like the R's, right, but as she would dash out too, the knockups that you had. I saw that you would stagger your EQ to try and knock up, right? I gotta ask, like, going into the fights, what was kind of the idea? Did you want to front to back it? Did you want to just take it head on? Were you trying to take it angles? What was the idea?
Yeah. So basically, anytime that we were engaging, actually, we didn't really engage. They always tried to engage on us.
And we did see that Nautilus kind of start to
he's-
pop off with the hooks. He
Hook.
was nailing them. Yeah.
Yeah, but the rest of my team can fight front to back. I can get in the back line, make sure the Callista is being disrupted the entire fight, and that way, as soon as Callista is not dealing as much damage, everyone can move in, and then we'll sweep them front to back like a normal.
Yep. And we saw you take that kind of tank build, right? Going with that Frostfire Gauntlet. Did you know already coming into this game that you'd play not really a support role, but more of like a frontline kind of engage role?
Yeah, definitely, because we had some squishier characters on our team, especially early game. Nasus is still squishy early game, but gets strong late game. So it's just really protecting people that early game until we can get to that late game point where we can just run them over.
And we saw really, obviously, Vector and I were talking about it. This kind of draft that we had, Valpo's early game was not as strong as Lord's early game coming in the draft. But I mean, during these team fights, right? You guys did a great job of going and soloing out that Callista with those kills, making her just obsolete. And obviously, all they had left was like all they had left was the Nautilus, right? So I mean, fighting into this, and we saw obviously. MF Jakimbo gets another lead.
Yes.
Right? It's
Oh,
another
yeah.
day at work, right?
Oh,
It's just another business day for him, honestly, getting a lead like that. But no, really just like taking the Frostfire, going in with those knockups. Just great game overall. Honestly,
Thank you.
it was
Thank you.
fun to watch. Obviously, we were freaking out a little bit in the booth with a couple of dashes and knockups that you had. Just having a little bit of fun here. But no, honestly, great game.
Thank you.
Definitely,
Thank you.
definitely a carry game, I'd say. But no, looking into this next game, uh, what do you think? I want to ask you one more question. Going into
Sure.
this next game, obviously playing that first one, who do you think they focus bans on?
So honestly, they're probably gonna ban out the jungler heavily because if you notice during their first game, they're putting a lot of pressure on their plat to carry them through the entire game. Their plats roam the entire time, and
Yep.
they barely stay in lane so that they can save their other lanes.
Hmm.
So they're probably going to put heavy bans on jungler and heavy bans on mid, just so that they have more freedom to move around. Because the less comfortable the jungle and mid are, the less rotations you're just going to get. So that's what I would look out for. Like probably a new ban. They're probably going to ban another Hecarim just because he's a strong champion right now. You will probably not seeing Talia next game just because MF Jakimbo's Talia is just cracked. But
Nasty, yeah. The
yeah,
one time we get to see it when it's not banned, it's a fun thing to watch.
yes, yeah.
I know.
But that's my take. That's my take.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for being here in the interview.
Of course,
Uh,
thank you.
Honestly, great game, obviously, and we're looking forward to watching the next couple games in this series. So, thank you, everyone. We're gonna take a short break really quick, and then we'll get back when draft starts up. All right, everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 of Valpo Esports versus Lords. I'm your host, Dikembe, and now I'm joined with...
Hi, my name is Karis, also known as Thong Senpai when you see me play.
Yep. So, Karis is another ADC on our game. So we had the jungler kind of opinion, so now we're going to get a little bit of a bot lane insight coming into this next game, and we're already starting up in draft here. So, obviously, coming from Valpo, we saw the Yumi and the Zac ban from first game as well. And Lords coming in also with the Hecker and Misfortune. It looks like Valpo Esports winning that last game. They're just going to keep their bans. But as you can see, Lords also keeping their same bans as well.
Mm.
Not banning that Talia, giving
Yeah,
Valpo Esports that Talia again.
last game that Talia, usually MF Jakimbo has a pretty solid start. And you really finished that game strong. So not banning the Talia, allowing Valpo to first pick it, pretty good pick, in my
It
opinion.
makes me wonder, who is Lords going to target with these next two picks? They're taking the
They're
V
taking the
again,
Vi again.
or the Vi again. I'm sorry, but man, just I mean, obviously the Vi was not an issue that early game, and the
Right,
Callista
and the
again.
Callista.
Yep.
Their AD really feels confident on Callista, but I think that Valpo's draft was more targeted towards stopping that Callista.
Yep. I mean, you saw they had the solo ult from the
Right,
Jarvans. They had the knockups. They had the
right,
Silas stealing ults as
right.
well, right?
The Nasus support, they're picking
And
the
they're
Nasus support once again.
yep. I mean, obviously, like last game, we had the Nessa support as a response to the Callista,
Right,
and it
right.
worked last game, so it makes
So
sense that they
I
would
think
take it
it'll work
again.
again this game.
Exactly. But really, I'm looking for Valpo Esports. Who they go? They may just go with the Senna again.
I think so.
Just the ordinal comfort pick coming in with this Nasus as well.
It's
But
and it's a solid bot lane too. The
mhm.
Senna allows the Nasus to like heal up, that's safely farm. The Nasus just cues the wave.
Yep, and there's the Senna right there. It makes me wonder, what is Lord's gonna change up about this game?
I if I was Lords, I would probably change away from the Nautilus. I don't
Hmm.
feel as though the Nautilus offered a lot of support to the into the Senna Nasus bot lane.
Okay,
You don't want to really engage on the Nautilus or on the Nasus, and here's the Nautilus pick. Are they going to
here's
lock it?
they may just be hovering it, but who do you think they should pick
I
outside
would
of Nasus?
pick someone more pokey. You want to get the Nasus out of the lane, you want to get the Senna alone, and you want to make sure Nasus is getting as little farm as possible. I think that's the
Okay,
solution to this.
and Lord's is going with the
They're
Nautilus
going
pick
with the
and
Nautilus.
the Aatrox ban again. Um, it it makes me wonder just like what their idea for this game is because
Right.
obviously they don't feel like it was their team comp. And Vector and I talked about this earlier in first game,
Hmm.
but Valpo Esports' early game was a lot weaker than Lords, right?
Yes.
Lords going
Yes.
against the V, the Callista, the Nautilus, that
Hmm.
early engage. But late game, I mean, with the scaling from bot lane, the Talia being a hyper carry, Jarvan, once he gets those tank abilities, being able to frontline and knock in, um, really, it's hard to face them late game. So
Yes.
and there's the
There's the
one
Silas
adjusted
ban.
yeah, there's the
Yeah.
one adjusted ban that we have, and it's the Silas. Um, so we're gonna see Valpo banning that Sejuani and that
Okay, and
Ornn.
the Orn.
Um, really, it's so our change ups here are gonna be at the jungle, and it's gonna be our top lane coming from Valpo. But Lords is gonna look for a different mid laner probably going into this Talia. I guess they weren't like thinking that it's Jakimbo playing
Right.
Talia. They're
Right.
thinking that okay, it's just we need to counter this.
Right.
So it looks like we have a Malphite
Okay,
pick
they're gonna
coming from
lock in the
Lords.
Malphite a
Yep.
lot more. They're going really engage, engage, engage. The Vi ulti, the Nautilus ulti and Q, Malphite ult. They really even Callista. They all want to get in there. They just want to run down Valpo.
Yeah, and
The Trundle.
there's the Trundle pick
I like
coming
the
from
Trundle
Vector.
pick here.
Yep.
Has a lot of good ult targets.
There's a lot of tanks, especially that Malphite.
Right.
Stealing those stats
Right.
from Malphite
Stealing
is
it from Malphite
huge.
is massive.
Exactly.
Can definitely turn a fight around.
It makes me wonder because Lords, like you said, is going very very engage heavy. They're
Right.
gonna face you face up and just try to knock you down.
Right.
But with Valpo, they I mean last game you saw that they turned it quick.
They did.
They
They
were able
did.
to turn these engages. I mean, we had Zaxter come in here and talk a little bit on the interview. Their
Sure.
fights were not so much like we were engaging them and picking out.
Right.
They would just fight us, and then we would go and jump back on them.
Right.
So
Right.
it makes me wonder how Lords is going to go into this game with almost the same comp, really, like around the same idea that they had last
Hmm.
game. But and looks like we're going to have a Seraphine
A
mid.
Seraphine mid.
playing more of a support role, trying to give their team a little bit of an extra boost, I guess, going into this. But I mean, you're gonna see outside of the Seraphine chip, that's gonna give Talia free lane.
Right.
And giving MF Jacimbo any lane priority is really a hard battle to win because
Yeah.
his timing when it comes to his roams plus
Hmm.
his damage that he can output, it's gonna be rough. But
Right.
I mean, granted, hey, we have not seen Seraphine mid from this Lords.
Okay.
It
That's
may
true.
be something that they want here because, as you saw, right, we turned fights really early last game.
Hmm.
So having that sustain coming from Seraphine may be just a
That is
good
true.
option for Val or for Lords.
They really, yes, Lord's game plan here is to just team fight. They're just going to team fight, team fight, team fight, and if Valpo can mitigate however much they give them during those team fights, if anything at all, then I think that's their key to victory here. But I think if Lords wants a chance at winning this, then they have to play really well. And like you said, they're rocking with some of the same champions that they played last game, so they don't feel as though the champions are the issue. It's what's happening
Yep.
inside the team fight.
Yep. So that makes me wonder because I was talking about Zaxter, or I was talking with Zaxter about this. Um, Kind of just like what was their idea going into fights, like how they're going to angle themselves, like
Sure,
are they looking to push in, push out, right? So it makes me wonder like how Lords is going to differentiate this because
sure.
looking at it, right? Obviously they have something up their sleeve.
Hmm.
I'm not like counting them out because of this, but
Right.
as a caster right now, as like an onlooker, I don't see what their angle is going to be. So, do you have any idea like how they can change up their fights from last game?
Um, to me, it seems as though I got to see one good fight of the last game, and that was around Dragon. It was, I think, the third Dragon.
Hmm.
Um, and Vi and Arya were sort of trying to flank, and then the other three champions were trying to just go straight from Dragon Pit, walk up, thinking that they were going to pinch all five.
Yep.
However, because the Vi and the Ari they weren't able to like pick anyone out. Vi can't really pick anyone out, especially if everyone's all huddled on top of each other. But the Ari could. But the
Yep.
Ari didn't get the chance to do that. So it sort of got flipped onto them. That's what really flipped it.
Yep.
Because Valpo Esports, what they did is they said, okay, let's just kill these two champions that are out of position here
Yeah.
and then take
Exactly.
care of the rest.
Because you saw Valpo, like you said, was grouped in five. So
Right.
all they had to do was just shift their
Just
wave
shift
back going
over.
that way, and
Yep.
they had
And
it.
then
So
just go back to Dragon. Yep.
exactly. Yep. So no. Going into this draft, obviously we see the team comps.
Hmm.
Who do you think favors here in these picks?
If we're going based off of team comp, I do think that Lords does have the better team comp. I've
Okay.
always been a fan of engaged team comps of fight, fight, fight.
Yep. Same.
Valpo Esports definitely has a more scaly comp. You know, you have the Senna, you have the Nasus, you have the Talia. You
Hmm.
know, three really heavy scaling champions. So I think that Lords wants to end this game, you know, before 25 minutes. You
Okay.
know, 25, 30.
Yep.
But the longer this game goes, the higher of a chance Valpo has to win.
And you'll see also we have Anaya in the top lane getting to pick that Fiora.
Right,
And
right.
I really like I love watching her play that Fiora because you
Hmm.
see she's not afraid to jump in early and fight.
That is true.
Especially against this Malphite, that true damage is going to be
Hmm. It
huge,
will.
chunking that because obviously armor doesn't mean anything. Malphite's passive means nothing to true damage.
Right.
So if she can just keep engaging and keep fighting like that, this top lane is going to be hard for Malphite to stick in.
Hmm.
But obviously, like taking that pick as a response, we're just gonna have to see. I'm interested really in the summoner spells that we're looking at here
Yes,
for this
yes.
team. Because obviously we have the staples of like teleport, but
Hmm.
you see, like I was talking about, this kind of Fiora into Malphite matchup. Do you think that Anaya will take ignite?
It's a risky trade. It is
Hmm.
a risky trade. If Anaya is going for those early game kills, which would definitely benefit the Fiora. Fiora is a very 1v9 champion.
Yep.
Then she would take the ignite. But I think that, like I said, Valpo they want to play slow. And having teleport, having access to move around the map late game, you know, while Anaya could split push, and then there's a team fight at Dragon, teleports in, you know, changes the tides.
Yep.
You know, with Ignite, you're stuck in the top lane, or you're stuck in whatever lane you're in. So I really think that the smart play is to take teleport. It's
Okay.
such a safer option.
Okay. And we'll see also, like summoner spell wise,
Right.
right, the teleport, like you said, is a safe option. Um, the other one I like to talk about is MF Jacimbo's choice. But
Sure.
with, again, they gave him his Talia.
Hmm.
he's going to go open spellbook. He's gonna go that unsealed spellbook,
Right.
and he can start off with that exhaust for early game, right?
Mhm.
Because especially going into a Seraphine, he's not gonna worry about really getting wave pushed much, unless he
Mhm.
gets like camped by this V, which is detrimental to Lords anyways. I don't see
Right.
that happening. Unless he gets camped, he's going to have that wave prio. There's not going to be many times where wave is pushing in on him. He's going to have to teleport back.
Right.
So he has that exhaust if he does get engaged on early game. But really, I mean,
And I'm
like,
sure that's what's going to happen. I think the Vi wants to shut down the Talia as quickly as possible because that,
yep,
in my opinion, is the lane that has the most potential to get out of hand the quickest.
yep. But I think like the toughest part about facing him of Chikimbo here is
Hmm.
that his fights, you notice his laning phase, he gets no KP.
Right.
His laning phase, he never is like he roams, but he's never like roaming too much. He becomes active after that first objective because you
Hmm.
realize, like you said, that V is going to be looking to shut him down.
Right.
When V has something else to focus on or other people to focus on, that's where he shines because now that he's not getting focused, he's allowed to throw abilities in, he's allowed to support his team, and that's where a lot of his kills and a lot of his gold comes
Hmm.
from. So we're going to have to see if the V kind of centers their team fights, especially on that first drag
Right.
around Talia, or if she's just going to be looking to get Dragon again, look to
Hmm.
outsmite Trundle. So we have a quick like 250-minute spectator delay. We're gonna go to a short break here, just to give me a little bit of water before we start off.
Sure.
But we'll be right back when we load into the game. And welcome back, everyone. About 5 seconds out from our game loading into this. Just as a quick recap, we believe that while Lords had a better draft, especially going into this engage, it was a similar draft to what they had last time.
Hmm.
We're gonna have to look for a little bit of a gameplay change, right?
Right.
Coming from Lords, just kind of just like a skill difference that they're gonna have. And then obviously we talked about summoner spells. The safer choice is teleport, but we could see an ignite come out here if we're
Right.
getting a little bit fancy.
Here we go.
And it looks like we have just like the basic runes.
Right. Callisto taking cleanse. I'm not
Oh,
sure of the what she took last game. I'm
Hmm.
assuming heal.
Yep.
But she definitely wants to cleanse the Nasus Wither.
Yep.
Definitely wants to cleanse the Senna W.
Yep. So no, we're gonna have to see. Obviously, like the last game you saw, kind of that Callista getting like soloed out, getting like
Right.
pushed around. She really does not want that to happen this game,
Hmm.
like you said. So, and I mean, we see the unsealed spellbook again from
Right.
Chikimbo. Um, the
Welcome to the Summoner's
Seraphine
Rift.
going with the Airy, right? That's normal
Hmm.
for a Seraphine
Pretty
mid, kind of
typical
playing that,
stuff.
yeah, playing that damage support role and then that healing support also.
30 seconds
Hmm.
until
Um,
minions spawn.
really kind of basic runes
Right.
coming from everybody. The first strike from Ordinal, right? First strike Senna is huge, especially in
Hmm.
that late game for that extra damage.
Right.
Because those stacks that she gets and that range that she gets just makes it so easy to chip. I mean, you can talk about that a ton,
Right.
right? You have
Yeah.
a lot of experience with Senna.
Yeah, it really adds on to the amount of things that she can do,
Hmm.
early game especially too. Getting that extra gold,
Minions have
getting that,
spawned.
first backstory to Dirk is huge in the bot lane.
Yep.
You're chunking out Nautilus, even Nautilus, chunking out Callista, auto Q auto. That's what makes, in my opinion, champions like Senna and Misfortune really strong right now. The fact that you can do so much damage in such a short amount of time like that.
Yep. Especially like considering the poke that I want to talk a little bit about Misfortune too, because we were talking about it. Obviously, an early ban coming from
Right,
Lords, they really don't
right,
want to play against it, and for good reason.
right.
This patch especially, Misfortune is nasty.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
has really favored Misfortune.
mm,
Definitely a champion who scales. She scales really well. She's matched. There's a lot of comfortable matchups for her. I only personally think that she loses maybe about 3 of the matchups with ADCs that are viable right now in
hmm
competitive play. A lot of good pairings with supports. Son of Braum being a disgusting combo. The fact that you can get a massive stun off in a 1 second combo, really
hmm
big in early game.
and also I just saw something recently. We might be seeing an AP Malphite come in this top lane
Yes,
with the Comet rune. And just a couple of dashes coming in from Fiora. As you see,
right.
just
Getting the early level lead, using that advantage.
that
Little
that
poke.
early trade potential for
Right.
her is insane. But no, we might be seeing an AP Nat or an AP Malphite come in here, and honestly, I like it.
Sure.
Uh,
It'd
I'm
be
just
different.
yeah, it would be different. My issue is I don't know if it's the best right now for their team comp, because
Right.
outside of maybe the Nautilus,
Oh, we
which
have an
even then,
early
oh,
gank coming in.
early gank,
Gets
nice
the knock
toss
up
back
into the
from.
stun. That's an early flash. That's really big for MF Jackimbo.
Yep. And I mean, we're used to seeing Vector be
Right.
very, very active in that mid lane early game. I mean, teams really have to start looking for that
They do.
because it's the same every game.
It
He's
is.
going to be there level 2, level 3. He's going to
Hmm.
go fight that.
He wants to get that early flash, even maybe an early kill.
Exactly.
Anything that will help his laners out.
Yep. I mean, obviously, it's not just like coincidence that he is ganking that mid lane.
Right.
Trying to get that wave prow for MF. Just trying to give him that like extra lead. It looks like we have
We
V
see him
hiding in
walking
bush here,
into the
but
Vi. He's just gonna walk away.
a
Senna
dash
is
here in the miss
the
from the
Nautilus
Nautilus.
being out of position here. Senna getting a bit of poke off.
Yep.
Are they gonna go for something here? No, they're just gonna let the Calista walk out.
Be that much of an engage. Looks like we have a little bit of a level diff for the Malphite here. Being
Yes.
one level ahead of the Sanaya. Um, really. I mean, we're gonna see. It's gonna be a little bit of a chippy top lane here.
Right. It
Uh,
will.
that massive or that Malphite passive,
Hmm.
right? That massive. The shield that he
Massive
has,
passive.
that shield that he has does help a little bit against Fiora and
It
just
does.
that early dash, especially because it's not doing as much damage. We have a flash here
We have
coming
an
from the
early
Nautilus
fight
and the
coming in.
pull coming in, the Glaciate keeping him stuck in
Yes.
place there, and the first blood going to that Callista. Again, that early game engage, as we talked about, is huge.
That was a big flash. Giving it to the Calista too. That's gonna give her a massive lead. Already up 18 CS against the Nasus too.
Yep, and we'll see that Malphite kind of he might be just Q-maxing it, right?
I
So
figure, yeah.
yeah, because of that AP rune that he's building, and we have a pull on the Nessus as well, getting caught out of
Nasus
place.
gonna
And
flash
the
here. I
flash
think he's
coming
gonna
away,
get
but
out.
the flash of the
The-
Callista, oh well.
Oh,
And it
that
looks
was a
like it's
good
gonna be
trade.
yeah, it's gonna be a 1-for-1.
The 1-for-1, the flash and the cleanse.
Yep.
Bot lane has no summoners now. It's going to get very hectic down there. They're going to want, like I said, they're going to want to fight, especially now that they have no summoners. They're going to just keep Q, Q, Q.
Exactly. And I mean, as we saw as we took a peek in the top lane as well,
Mhm.
another aspect of the Fiora Malphite matchup is that Malphite's wave clear, especially going AP, is much better
It
than
is.
Fiora's. You see a massive wave crashing there on Fiora, kind of that
Mhm.
pressure. So if Malphite can keep crashing that wave, keep getting wave prio, it's gonna make Fiora's chips a lot harder to
Yes.
actually be worth when it comes to trading.
Yes.
So I mean, getting early recall there coming from Talia, but missed missed Q on the Nautilus as well. Uh,
Yes.
I mean, they're just active again, like you said. They're
Yeah.
relying a lot on their like plats to go in
Mhm.
and kind of carry this game for them,
Yeah, they definitely want to get their platinum players as big of a lead as possible.
which makes sense. I mean, that's what
Yes.
you want to do. That's what we do
Right.
with Jakimbo,
Yeah,
right?
right, right,
So
right.
it's nothing. There's nothing wrong against
Nothing
that.
new. Nothing
Yep.
new.
But it's just you'll see it kind of works also like in Valpo's favor as long as no one does get caught out, because the more time they spend out of lane, the more time that Senna and Nasus just have to scale,
Right.
get those Q stacks, those
Good
uninterrupted.
dodge on the Nautilus Q there.
Yep.
That would have led to a kill. Now, the lane that I'm really interested in is this top lane. I do like that matchup a lot. I'm
Yep.
very interested to see how it plays out because while the Fiora... Oh, we have a fight coming in here.
Looks like we have a pillar coming in from Vector, but the pull
Okay.
away from Nautilus
TP
Q.
coming in from the Seraphine.
A little bit of
A
preemptive
little
TP.
premature.
Yep. It
But
looks like Jakimbo sees that TP. He's just gonna move back.
yes, he's just
go
going to
farm
move
a
back,
little bit.
shove the wave, yeah.
Yep.
He can honestly take an early recall here if he needs it, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to try to go for some plates.
And it looks like we have 6 on both Anaya and the Malphite here, so we're gonna see if there's an engage coming in.
Let's see how good Anaya's reaction time is with the Malphite ulti. Try to get a parry off. If she can parry it.
If she can, that's nasty.
Yes,
that's
could lead
huge.
to a kill.
Yep.
She needs
Because
to do a bit more poke, but
yep. And it looks he's posturing a little bit for it, but
he is.
I don't think he actually will ult here. I think he's just
No,
trying to scare it.
Yeah, just zone her off the wave, zone her off the experience as much as possible.
Exactly. And obviously, like the 1v1 fighting potential is much better for
Right.
Fiora.
Right.
But I mean, Malphite recognizes that, and what he's doing is he's getting that XP lead, he's getting that gold lead that he can, doing what he's better at, which is farming.
Right.
I don't know. Just a little bit of downtime here coming into the game, a little bit of farming. Looks like Nautilus may step up a little bit for the hook and
Oh,
nails
gets the
the hook.
That's
And
gonna
that's
be
going to be another kill
a
with the
dead
red.
Senna.
And you just see that Valpo, I mean, last game, it started to work when Nasus started to frontline that. But this Nautilus has just been threading the needle here with those kills.
He has been. He's been playing really well, trying to get his kills as far ahead as possible. And it's working, you know. 3 kills at 8 minutes already has a 150 gold bounty.
Yep, you have to give credit to this Nautilus.
You do.
He's been nailing those hooks. I mean, obviously it's been a little bit hard for him late game because the hooks don't come with the damage that they've
Right.
had. But this early game, when they do have that advantage, you can really see it's just hard to play against that engage.
Right.
But it looks like with the pressure that they put on the bot lane, mid will push out, which will give them the first Rift Herald of the game. As long as Fiora gets to clear this vision here, also shove that wave in a little bit.
Yes. I think Vector will want to use that top side. It's a very, you know, just get the Fiora as far ahead as possible. In my opinion, in this scenario, you either want to get the Fiora ahead or you want to get the Talia ahead because either are going to scale really well and they're going to provide a lot of late game damage.
I think that really the plan was to get that Talia ahead because you see
Right.
MF Jakimbo's up about 30 CS,
Right.
a little bit under it. So seeing that kind of like early gold lead, right? It's the difference between Lost Chapter and an Amplifying Tome,
Yeah.
right? That's a huge mana, ability haste, and ability power
Right.
difference that you have right now, and that's showing in the wave clear that he has. Just a little bit of farming going on. You can see Nasus, that chip that he has on his E. While in recent patches as well, that mana cost has decreased a little bit,
Right.
making that Nasus support a little bit more of a viable option. Because now that chip doesn't come with such a heavy cost. Obviously, with Nasus support, you always max W first.
Right.
But really, it's the matter of, do you put a couple of points in Q and then go E, or do you just go straight poke? personally, I think that putting a couple of points in queue just to get that farm going is a little bit better.
Right.
But obviously it can change on the game.
We have a lot of poke damage coming in from Anaya, hitting those vitals. She's hit 3 in a row. I think they're going to commit to a fight here.
And there's another one. Malphite still sitting on his R, kind of
Yes,
saving that for a kill
Both champions are.
Looks like we have
We have
another
a fight
knockup.
coming in bot lane.
And the pull in and the toss out and the flash
ult's gonna
coming
hit.
in from the Nautilus. The R on the Vi is killing the Senna again.
They did use a lot of resources there, if you
Yep.
think about it. They used Nautilus ulti, Vi flash, and ulti, and even Kalista ulti, all for 1 kill. You
Yep.
know, I'm sure Senna isn't worth that much gold right now. Probably about 200 that kill was. So we have the parry coming out.
It looks like the ult coming from
Malphite
Fiora.
flashing out of this situation, actually.
Yep.
Not confident in his damage.
And
We have
looks
the
like
MF
we have a
Jackimbo.
Talia and a flash over the wall. Good reaction time from that Malphite.
That was good.
But a great ult coming in from MF Jackimbo, just keeping his eyes on the map.
Yes, his awareness of the map and his pressure that he constantly provides with that Talia R, he's there in every single fight. That's the true power of the Unsealed Spellbook. Because even then, he could still take teleport and, you know, be one side of the map on 1 second, the other side the next, you know?
Yep. And I want to talk a little bit about that fight in bot lane too, with
Sure.
that kill on that center. It looks like oh, never mind, we have a pillar here coming from mid lane, but
Nautilus
just
can
gonna
provide
get,
some support.
yep, gonna
They
run
just
away
walk
a little
out,
bit.
Yeah. Get the Seraphine Flash. We'll take those.
Honestly, like a good decision to back out of that fight, especially seeing
Right.
that Nautilus, because you saw V was hovering.
Vi was right there,
behind.
too. You don't want to
Exactly.
fight that 2v3, especially when Seraphine has ulti.
Mhm.
That can really turn a fight around.
But no, we have a Rift Hail drop at mid, just trying to get a little bit of a chip here, get a couple of plates going. And talking about that bot fight, I think, like you said, you have to ask, like, were all the resources worth it? Because you see, we have
Right.
drag up in 13,
Right.
and there goes the flash.
They're not going
right?
to have flash. They'll have
Ults are
ultis.
still on cooldown.
But yeah, Kalista might get ulti by the time. I don't think they're going to start the drag right on spawn.
Yep.
So she might have her ulti back. Vi does have ulti back. But yeah, it's like you said,
Having
just like
that
a lot of
flash on that-
resources.
Yeah, having that flash on that V is really tough, especially if Valpo decides to try and turn this a little bit, because
Right.
there's no way to get out of it. But it
Like-
looks like they won't contest this, as they're giving.
They're giving them the drag.
Looks like it may have just been like a timing difference. You saw Valpo was kind of just getting back to lane, taking a
Right.
reset there. So, I mean, good on Lourdes for taking advantage of that and looking for the reset. Looking for a little bit of a drag. But a couple of chips coming in.
We have the Malphite doing a fair bit of damage against the Fiora. Looks like he's going to commit to a fight. We're getting a couple flashes down in the bot lane. Vector having to
Little
flash out of that
thumbs.
situation.
Thumbs up coming from Anaya. I mean, we're used to seeing it, especially here in the casting booth. Anaya likes to be a little
Right.
bit vocal with her opponents, so it's always fun to watch just the emotes. And
Here we go. We have a 3v2 going in.
We have-
Vi's coming in for the support.
the
Gets the
Sentinel
kill on
and the Nautilus
Trundle.
ult in the pull, but it looks like it'll just be one. The root on the Nautilus, but with those two hovering, it's not going to
Right,
amount to much.
it's not going to get a kill.
Exactly. Just really tough right now. Valpo Esports
Right.
early game. We saw this happen last game too. Just getting caught out of position.
Right.
Early 5-1. I mean, you know, I'm a broken record at this point. Lord's early game is
It's-
just really good right now.
This was their strategy, though. So now it's
Exactly.
a matter of, can they hold this lead that they have and push it until the very end of the game?
And you'll see, like, from what I'm seeing in the casting booth especially, kind of looking at that difference of what bot lane is doing, is that you saw level 2, level 3, they were already up in mid, right? They were
Right.
already trying to fight Jackimbo. On this one, they're looking to engage a little bit more on their own fights,
Right.
their own lane there. They're given their own, like, advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more times they spend in their own lane, the less time that Senna and that Nasus have to scale.
Mhm.
So it's becoming a little bit harder for them. Looks like we may have Valpo set up for a little bit of a fight around this Rift Hail, trying to get that priority, that gank on the top lane.
Yes, they don't want to just sack the dragon and then not try to take the Rift Herald after that. That's giving them too far of a lead. You know, we're only down 1k gold here. I found in my experience, funneling all of the gold onto one champion, risky business. Because you have to have a lot of faith and trust that that one person can carry the game.
Yep.
You know, if we're looking at you know, CS and KDAs, MF Jacimbo has still a massive, almost 40 CS lead. The Trundle is down a little. It's a very close CS game in this top lane. Like I said, it's only the Kalista on Lourdes' team who has that massive gold lead against everyone else.
It looks like we might have a fight here at Rift Herald. The Talia knockup coming in. Another ult, and the Seraphine ult hitting and charming a ton. The knockup on the Nasus ult. And it looks like Kalista will get 1 kill. And the V getting the Rift Herald, turning it successfully.
Close game. We have MF Jacimbo just poking in the side.
And there's the kill on the Malphite. And alone, there's another
the Vi
double
is
kill
walking in. We're going to
well.
get the Vi here. It's going to be
and
a 3
there's a triple
for 4.
kill going to the Talia as well.
4, sorry.
As you saw, just the Vi, they're engaged, going in on that 3v1 while without looking at that Talia slowly chipping away. The amount of damage that they did in that fight caused Lourdes to have to back up after taking that rift, but that V was just not backing up, allowing Talia to keep throwing those Qs, throwing those abilities back in.
And this is exactly what happened in that first game, you know? They had such a... Lourdes having that massive lead, choosing a bad fight, and Valpo managing to catch up and actually take the lead. We now have a 1.5k.
Yep, and all I'm saying is, look, I'm not a fortune teller, but I called it.
Fair enough.
The first objective fight that they have, MF Jacimbo is going to get a double kill, and then there he goes. Like that's his start off every game. It's his trademark.
And now we see him with the 450 gold bounty.
Exactly.
Now, personally, I don't think he deserves that much. It was only a couple of kills. We still have the 6-2 Kalista on the field.
Yeah, exactly. But her bounty did just get reset.
Right.
So
this is true.
I mean, but then again, I mean, now the gold lead is 2k in Valpo's favor, a 6-6 game. That fight was huge, honestly. I mean, you saw it too. Just it was a winning fight for Lourdes, but they just overextended.
They overextended. The Vi, what the Vi should have done differently, in my opinion, is instead of just running in trying to kill Valpo's bot lane, I think peeling your 5-1 Kalista is the better play. Because like I said earlier, that's all of your damage. That is the one person on your team that you need to stay alive to do all of that like guaranteed damage. And MF Jacimbo was just on the side throwing Qs, just poking her out of the fight. She can't do anything there.
Exactly. But no, I mean, we talked about obviously they're going to have the stronger engage. But I mean, you have to ask the question now, why is Valpo's turn working so well? It looks like we have a little bit of a fight coming in on mid lane. A lot of ults, the Senna ult keeping him in, but the shutdown going to Kalista.
This fight. They really want to see these turrets.
They really need that Rift Herald to stay up, and it worked. I mean, the 2 kills, and you'll see that now that they have that advantage, they're going to engage a little bit more, but they're taking that kind of pressure that they have with that Rift Herald mid to go and take this Hextech Dragon.
Right. This is they're going to be on soul point with this. Vector's not up, no smite contest. But I think that was the play to use that many resources on 1 or 2 picks. They use Malphite TP and ulti, Vi ulti, Seraphine, everyone's ulti for, I mean, it was a 450 gold shutdown.
And it did go to the Kalista.
And it did go to the Kalista. So that did even up the game. You know, only 300 gold, 400 gold difference, and they got the dragon. So
I think that kind of team organization that they just had with that fight was important because they saw. I mean, you could hear the call out. It was mid, right? They all collapsed on that mid. They got that kill, and because of that, they were able to turn that into Vector as well and take that priority, that jungle priority, and that mid priority to go and take that dragon. With the shutdown to Kalista, that was only positives for Lourdes there, quite frankly, no matter like what the resources I feel like.
That is true. That is a good point.
So, I mean, we'll have to see. Talia now with the back, now the full Leandries and the full Shadow Flame as well. Big for her. That Magic Pen is going to come in clutch.
Looking at how the map is set up right now, just everyone's positioning, it seems like Anaya doesn't see the Nautilus coming in to support the Malphite. They can definitely turn this fight. Vi is coming bot side. We see the Kalista. Everyone's roaming up.
The ult coming in from Nautilus and the hook, and it looks like this just might be a kill. The flash
great
coming out
flash
and
by the Fiora.
Malphite
Malphite ulting, trying to chase the kill. She's going to get out. We see a fight.
It looks like we're going to have a team fight now.
We are.
But
Anaya
Talia is
so low.
still bot lane. They're
doing the true damage, getting the heals.
Getting that kill. The parry and the
parry, getting the stun.
But Nautilus is going to take the kill on the Fiora, but they're low. The double kill
have
coming
Trundle
from Trundu.
just whacking
and he's
him.
just slapping.
Kalista's in the
and there's
back
the triple kill.
There we go. What a great fight for Valpo.
And you saw that targeted exhaust coming from
Yes.
Steamroller on that Callista, making her damage almost invalid for
Just
that
nothing.
fight. Allowing that Trundle to just keep bonking out.
Just keep bonking her.
Slapping. It works. And I was talking about it right before that fight. MF Jakimbo, their damage was really not there.
Right.
But you saw just the targeted summoner spells was more than enough for them to turn that fight. Great flash from Anaya getting
That was a
out
great
of that.
flash. I think that flash is what allowed them to turn that fight because
Exactly.
we saw the Malphite overextended with his ulti. He's not getting the 4-man, 3-man ulti there, and
Yep.
it really allowed Valpo to carry that fight.
The flash getting out of that, looking over that wall, that good timing, along with the combination of Vector's pillar as well, keeping them from going into that tri-bush to
right.
chase afterwards, caused that Malphite to have to delay his ult. He's
Right.
going to have to move around it. So really, I mean, that awareness that Anaya has coming into that was insane. So it was a great fight overall, great turn, and it looks like we're going to be back to a 5k gold lead for Valpo.
Yes, sir.
Just looking like another game. But just a couple of chips here, and you can see just really...
scrapping.
Yep.
This is all top lane really is. They're just, punching each other every now and then.
Yep. And it looks like we'll have a mid tower go down from...
Yes. Opening up that mid lane gives Lourdes a lot more pressure that they can do on the map. You don't want to leave that mid wave just constantly shoving. Someone is going to have to be attending to that, and whether it's Valpo's Fiora or Talia, it really depends. Either way, it's going to be a big resource being spent to make sure that wave is not constantly pushing.
Looks like we have a little bit of a parry going on. And the R coming from Fiora, but...
Not committing to the tower dive.
Yep.
Very smart here. That can go wrong very quickly.
A little bit here, a little bit of a chip.
Early flash by the Senna here. That's a big resource.
I mean, we saw the Nautilus come in, but obviously he was looking to just get a little bit of a wall clearance, just push up a little bit to hit that auto. Wasn't really looking for an auto on the actual Senna, but again, like you said, getting that flash out is huge, especially with this drag coming up in 1 minute. Honestly, any summoner spell, any resource that they have, it's gonna be big.
Yeah, definitely don't want to give up soul to Lourdes here. That gives them a big advantage. Hextech Soul with Callista, Seraphine, that's a lot of AoE damage just all around. Especially when Valpo is going to be in that tight-knit, small team fight. I think that Valpo definitely wants to huddle on top of their carries. They want to huddle on the Talia, they want to huddle on the Senna, with the Nasus, with the Trundle, making sure that they're not taking any damage. They have to peel them off, while at the same time trying to either poke out or just flat out get a pick on, Lourdes carries, being the Seraphine and the Callista.
Yep, and I think we're going to see trying to get that pick here with a couple of roots, couple of engages. Really looking for that front line for Vector. I think he's looking for an R, trying to steal a couple of stats before he fights this. And now that Malphite is in that fight, it's viable. We got a 5v5 going on here in this river. Gonna chip out a little bit, setting up for this drag.
Nautilus
Valpo,
is getting pushed out of the fight. He's just getting threatened.
It looks like Anaya's gonna 1v1
Anaya's just
doing
running
what she
him
does
down.
best.
It looks
But
like they're rotating.
The
Callista ulti to get him out. That's one big resource already, and
Valpo
they want to
cannot
fight
give
there.
up this soul point, and there's a huge R from Senna with the steal. The Fiora art coming in as well. The kill on Malphite, the flash getting away, but it won't be enough as another kill secured for Valpo. It looks like it's going to be a 5 flat with the Fiora, the only one going down. And that's going to be taking Hextech. That fight was huge for Valpo. They could not give that soul point.
They cannot, and they did not. Now, if possible, they could just rotate straight up to Baron here.
Yep.
They still have a 15-second timer. I don't think they will, but I do think it is possible that they really wanted the Baron here, then they could get it. They are walking up, though.
Yep, I think it would be a little bit risky at this point because their damage is not exactly the biggest right now when it comes to their AD, right? And their just attack speed that they have.
And they are starting it.
They are going for it. We were talking also that World's Baron, looking kind of clean, looking kind of nice.
Very cool.
But I want to also just mention a little bit. We were talking with the Malphite taking that. Oh, it looks like they might just leave it here at 2K.
They're gonna let them
take
it. It looks like.
And it looks like
Vi is the only one in the pit.
Keeping that damage up. So now they're gonna hover it. Anaya is back in the
going
fight
in,
as well,
pushing her back out. Oh, they're gonna get a Q on the Trundle.
and the pull, but it's just not enough. And the smite coming in,
Smite,
taking
red
the
team
Baron.
stole the Baron.
Red team steal on Baron. Anai still in that fight, but Senna with the kill. Senna with a double
Yes.
kill as well. And a
It's
couple
that
of kills.
Fiora healing MF Shikimbo back into the fight. Very little mana, but they're going to get another ace, it looks like, here.
And that Baron will mean nothing.
Baron's nothing.
There goes that Baron buff. Even with those like couple of kills, it would have been a great fight, a great turn for Lourdes. But again,
Right.
that problem that they're having, they're sticking these fights too late.
Yes.
They're not leaving when they have the advantage.
Right.
Because they took that Baron, they had that flash or they had the smite and the kill from the Callista. That's it.
Yes, I think that after Callista secured the Baron, whoever's in pit, if you have to flash, it was advised so she could have queued out. I think you just get out of there. Just walk away. You don't need to take the fight. You already got the Baron. And then you use that Baron buff to push out your lanes, take turrets, get more gold that way. You know?
Now we see that, I mean, Baron is not up, right, for another 5 minutes. Dragon's going to be the first one up, and Valpo won that last Dragon fight.
That's true.
Really, like, again, that 5k gold lead is looking in favor, but you always have to think if Lourdes does get this Hextech Soul, that Callista is going to become a bit of a problem. That attack speed and that ability haste, Vector and I were talking about it first game, so insane for her character. Especially with that Rage Blade with the Zerkers, right, in the Kraken Slayer. All the attack speed that you get, her E just becomes like a split second decision. You throw like 5 attacks at once, rend, and there goes like a squishy. So really, I mean, we're just gonna have to look to see how these teams set up for this next fight.
Right.
But also talking about this Malphite a little bit. I mean, obviously we saw the Comet take, right? So we were looking for AP, but
he's just going, you know, Gauntlet, Iceborne.
Yep. I mean, we get the mana. We get the mana from the Frozen Heart, but I mean, it's a little bit split. It looks like we're seeing now just the kind of tank action with Nasus matching this Malphite up top lane. It's almost like Nasus was never support. It's kind of funny to watch. No, it looks like we have a V engage here with the ult under. There's no tower there, especially the teleport in coming from Malphite. Vector stealing the stats of the Malphite.
They're gonna fight here. I think Valpo wants to commit to this fight.
Steamroller gets in V without an escape as well. Flash not up.
Q's
Q
out.
Going out, but it looks like he's just too
Trundle
fast.
Pillar. Yep, it was gonna come out. Can they secure the kill?
They make it out. No, and
the snipe. With the snipe.
The snipe coming in from the Talia Q is kind of nasty. You see, I feel like the Seraphine on their team right now is just not in these fights.
No.
You saw like
split pushing bot lane.
Exactly. We had like an early fight with that Baron, right, or with that Rift Herald, where huge ultimate from her, and that turned the tide of that fight. But without her, right now their engage is a little bit low. The parry coming in from Fiora, but the Malphite
the 2-man Malphite ulti.
Huge ult and kill, and there's the Seraphine ult we were talking about.
That's the 700 gold shutdown on the Talia right there.
And that is a triple kill going to the Callista with that shutdown. Especially with Dragon up in 40 seconds.
Right.
And she's looking for an item buy right here. She can get this item buy right now. Come in back for drag. This is looking pretty good for what's called Lourdes.
Right, but like I was saying earlier, the longer this game goes, the more chance Valpo has to just take it home. We can see the 8-2 Talia, 3 items, boots, just bought the stopwatch. That's going to be massive. Haste. We have the Trundle with Sunderer and the Titanic Hydra. The Fiora, 2 items. He has the Blade of the Ruin King now. That's going to be really big. Very heavy, scaly comp.
We have a flash here from Vector, and the R pulling him out of the blast cone, and that's going to be a huge pick for this soul point. And the only way Valpo turns this is with some crazy kills here, but it looks like they're not going to... They can't do much here. I mean, it's a 4v5, and they're taking pretty fast. And there's soul point for Lourdes. That is huge.
This is what they were waiting for. Now they can definitely use this to turn the tides. Callista still being the primary
flash
one.
And the Malphite
to get the
on
kill.
Steamroller. It looks like he's just going to be pulled in and CC no matter what the Senna ult can do.
That was big. Lourdes can definitely turn this game around, and it looks like they're aiming to do that.
Yep, and they're looking for a huge wave push right here.
Yes, they want to siege these turrets as quickly as possible,
I mean, okay, we talked about this. Gameplay-wise, what are they trying to change going into this game?
Right.
They've obviously changed something.
Yeah.
With these engages that they've had, they've just been focusing on their lanes a little bit more
Mhm.
rather than trying to jump in. But I think around that 10-minute mark, right? Instead of kind of what the flip side did in their last game where they were moving around a lot and then 10 minutes they tried to focus back on their scaling to try and catch up. Now they took their lanes, they did what they did, and now they're just running in team fights.
Right.
Doing a really great job on catching people out. I think the CC difference that Lourdes is going with, especially now having that Malphite R as well, um, other than like the Ornn R, because Ornn R still is a CC, but
Right.
it takes a while,
It does.
right? You have to be able to redirect it, you have to fight it, people can still dodge it.
Right.
With Malphite, it's a lot harder to react to, as you were talking about, especially like going into kind of more of like a 1v1 oriented team comp that Valpo has with the scaling. It's a little bit tough. A
We
little
have
bit of
the
chips here in the
Nautilus
CC
trying
on
to
the Nautilus and getting an
to
early
just provide
kill.
pressure in that bush, and then just getting caught out with 3 champions running right at him.
It looks like with Baron up off that kill, their engage is going to be a little bit low going into this fight, so they're just going to start at Baron now.
That's true, and they're chunking that Baron. Seraphine pushing
Anaya
bot lane, but
jumps
teleporting
over, but
up.
looks like it won't get much here. Steamroller just kind of chip a little bit. Still has that R up and ready to go tank and face
Uses
it.
it. The Vi's
looks like
gonna
we're gonna have a
steal the
smite from
Baron.
this Baron. And
We have
Vi
a big
stealing
fight
it, the
coming
ult,
out here. The
but
ulti
we'll
on the
see
Seraphine.
the kills. The ult going on the Seraphine, trying to just get a little
Just
bit
the
of healing going
Callista.
on.
She's the only one with Baron buff.
Yep.
And Valpo is just gonna. It looks like they're just gonna shove out these waves. You know,
They're
it's the
trying to just
Callista.
push it.
Nautilus just came back. So if those two are gonna have to defend these turrets as best as they can, but with you know, a Trundle, a low mana Talia, it might, you know, what can they do?
Especially
can't
with
walk
the
up.
Demolish that they have proc
Right.
now.
They're just gonna
Their
take the inhib,
siege is
walk out.
important. Exactly. The hardest thing now is that Callista being the only one with that Baron buff.
hmm
Usually, if you have it on like one of your top laners or even your mid laner with TP, it's
Right.
so hard to defend against that because now they have that split push potential. Callista is their damage in this fight,
Right.
right?
She's never gonna
cannot
want to be
split.
alone. She's not gonna want to split.
If she splits, that either is a death for her or a death for her team. That split is going to be so hard for her now. So really, that Baron buff is just going to be, I mean, a buff to her. It's not going to really siege much at all, unless we see a little bit of orientation coming in from their team. Really. I'm trying to see what they're setting up for here. It looks like they're
I think
gonna be trying
Anaya
to
was,
push.
you know, taking the Vi's jungle. They're all moving down, trying to get that
And here
Vic
comes
on
that
these
Callista
two.
and that knock in. That flash coming from the Nautilus.
They're
and the
fighting a 2v4. We have
They're
MF
going to get
Jakimbo
that Anaya,
coming
the
in
flash coming in
a
from
little too
Steamroller.
late.
Looks like they're running back a little bit.
Yes. Now we have Elder up in 2 minutes here. I think that Lourdes definitely wants to take Elder as fast as possible. You know, I think that this game is very close. It's really anyone's game here. Lourdes just needs a couple more team fights, and they can really, you know, just siege through mid and the game. Even though they have like an inhib down mid, I think that they can still, with like Callista wave clear. With she has Runons now. They're gonna have a lot of wave clear with Seraphine. Even, you know, Malphite, you know, that AoE damage on his enhanced autos. We have a fight here, the 3-man charm on the Seraphine. That's going to be a lot. We have just Trundle just walking up, you know, doing his thing, whacking him, biting him. We have the GA on the, who was that? I don't even know who that was with the GA. But GA is down. It was on the Callista, yes, that's what I thought. GA on the Callista down. They're just going to take another Queen Ace here.
Yep.
They can push mid, they can push through bot. No objective up, unfortunately, for them to take, but they're going to take these kills and they're going to take these turrets, and that's more than enough.
It looks like they're going to get a little bit of gold here, stacking that Senna.
Right.
A great fight coming in from this team here, or from Valpo Esports.
Right.
Really, that overextension again, just kind of like fighting, not really under that tower, but in that kind of Valpo territory that they have.
And it looks like they're just going to go for the end here, you know. We have Trundle
looking to
pushing out
end
the
it.
mid waves and, you know, attacking the
A lot of
turrets.
tower damage.
They have
going to be looking to stun and
Seraphine,
another
Callista,
pull in.
and Malphite coming up in
That
5
Malphite
seconds.
ult, but that's a kill again.
Vi's
and
going
it
to
looks
die.
like
They're just going to attack the Nexus.
that's going to be
and that's a game.
from Valpo. A lot of like macro call right there,
Right.
just trying to end that game. Kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah,
a little
but
bit.
what a
But,
good game overall.
Great call outs.
Yes,
honestly.
on both team sides, I think that was a really close effort.
Yep.
Lourdes had a lot of potential to take it up, but
Yep. And I think we saw that Lords did make a little bit of an adjustment, actually,
yeah, they
like
did. I would agree.
choosing to, like take these fights and everything.
Right.
But I mean, late game we saw with the comp, it's really insane. And it looks
Mhm.
like we have our ADC here from that game, Ordinal,
Hey,
our Senna here.
welcome.
Um, so just talking about that game, right? If it doesn't work, okay. Talking about that game, kind of. If we
Oh yeah, there you go.
no stress, no stress. Um, so like draft wise, right? Obviously, you're comfortable on the center. I
Mhm.
think going into this game, what did you think you wanted to see in this laning phase? Like, what did you want to adjust?
Honestly, I swapped up my runes just because it's more of a passive lane.
Hmm.
Callista Nautilus was kind of annoying at first, and playing the fasting Senna was kind of hard with
Hmm.
what's it called? The healing runes. So I just dropped so first strike, try to get as much gold as I could, and I got full build by 20 minutes.
Yep. No, I saw the first strike, right? Obviously trying to scale a little bit. But
Yeah.
I think I want to ask also like obviously Callista and Nautilus they're going to win those early trades, right? They're going to win those picks. I think around that like 10-minute mark, what was kind of the change in mindset you guys had in bot lane fighting these guys?
Basically, I guess we would just like try to play off our jungler. We
Okay.
had to get those jungle picks, make them waste their summoner spells, and just try
Mhm.
to get good ganks off so Callista doesn't get too far ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think also like orienting in team fights, obviously they went with somewhat of the same comp, right?
Hmm.
Still they opted for a little bit more CC with the Malphite in the top, right? And the Seraphine just kind of help, and especially with the Seraphine R that they have. But seeing that like they were kind of going almost like with the same engage idea, right?
Hmm.
I think what was your approach to team fights in this game?
I think this is just basically like our team comps are sort of similar. We just didn't have the Silas top lane to help.
Yep.
We had a little less initiation this game, but we could just play it. My team in the front line, I'm just auto attacking from the back line and
Hmm.
just clear their front to back.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. It sounds great, but no. Obviously we saw 22k damage from you this game. Definitely, the rune change did help by being
Oh
full
yeah, for
build by
sure.
then, because you could start chipping them a little bit. I mean, we saw they gave MFG Kimbo's to Leah again, right? I mean, it's a broken record at this point, right? You give MFG Kimbo to Leah, he's gonna get the lead on you. I seen the Steamroller 14 Nasus come out both of these games as well, which is something we haven't seen before in one of our series, and seeing it work as a frontline. Obviously, right, the choice between that is the Wither on the what's called the Wither on the Callista, but I
So
think
good.
talking with him, right, and working with Steamroller, what did you think like were your guys' roles in fighting in these team
Um,
fights? Because
basically, he was just trying to shut down the Callista from auto attacking. His
hmm
Wither was like on a 6 second cooldown. We had exhaust, so we would just Wither 6 seconds after exhaust, and then after exhaust wears off, Wither him again. So Callista just can't run away, and I'm
yeah.
just in the back just using my gun.
No, yeah, and we saw like with the Baron fights and everything too. We saw that Nasus would step up right into
Mhm.
like a three people
Oh yeah,
ult and kind of just sit there, right, and just he would take three people and just look for that W like Wither coming out the side. So
yeah.
no, I could definitely see that in action. But no, honestly, great game.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you. It was a lot
that
of fun.
yeah, Callista Nautilus is not a fun thing to run into, and you saw that it was popping off these games. But obviously, it's just team draft,
Yeah,
right? What you guys can do together, what you guys were planning to do together, taking those objectives, um, playing into each other. Really, it wins these games over those drafts. So honestly, great game.
thank
It
you,
was
thank
great
you.
to see the
It was a
2-0
lot of
win.
fun.
Yep,
All
of course.
right,
Thank you for being here. But, thank you, folks, for tuning in for the first series. Now, this is not the end of the League of Legends stream today, as we have immediately a series two coming in. Pretty much in at 2 o'clock. Yep. So at 2 o'clock we have our series two Valpo Esports again, which is another best of three. So we'll see you back then. We're gonna take a break. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to all of us, and have a great time.